We used to fight a lot, but all couples fight.
But we worked like that.
I think it's healthy to fight. We were just being honest.
I mean, it worked for us.
We're both passionate people.
So we would have these really massive arguments.
It's just the niggling doubts that got to me.
We'd all blow over really quickly.
I used to try and ignore them, to just get on with things.
We would just make up and get stronger.
I find it really hard to trust people.
He could be so possessive. Like when we went for a drink.
Like when we went for a drink.
He would get really pissed off because I would get, male attention.
She was chatting to this guy at the bar. Maybe he said something to her.
One time he stormed out of the bar because I'd apparently touched some guy's arm while he spoke to me.
But then she starts touching him, like all flirting and smiling. I mean, what the fuck?
I found him outside, sitting on the wall.
I couldn't believe she would do that to me.
He was so angry, he just started screaming abuse at me.
She knew I'd been hurt before.
I ended up just walking away.
Then she just walks away when I've done nothing wrong.
I couldn't handle the way he was when he was upset. It just made me feel so helpless.
She used to do that a lot. It's like she just couldn't be bothered with me.
Like the tiniest thing I did meant so much more to him.
She seemed to just want to do her own thing, whether it hurt me or
I
not.
stopped seeing my friends as much.
She had so many male friends.
And I kept my plans to a minimum.
I mean, I know what she's like.
He would get really pissed off if I spoke about any of my male friends, no matter spending time with them.
She gave people the wrong idea. She probably was just trying to be friendly, but guys just don't think like that. I was ready to move things along. We were already living together.
Kidded myself on that it was okay for him to want to get married and have kids by the time he was 30.
I was 26 when we started seeing each other, and I felt I could spend the rest of my life with her. I really loved her.
Even though that would have meant I was agreeing to have kids within the next 3 years.
So I asked her to marry me.
I mean, that's a big deal for a 22-year-old in the middle of her studies.
She said yes, but I always knew she would never go through with it.
He didn't realise he was asking me to give up so much.
It was almost like she was scared to grow up.
He was asking me to give up plans I hadn't even had time to make
We
yet.
made plans, and it felt like she was just playing along.
I wanted to be myself, but I wanted to give him what he wanted.
Saying what I wanted to hear, you know?
I wanted to make him happy too. I couldn't do both.
She started to get worse though. She would cry at everything.
I felt like I was folding myself inwards, becoming smaller and smaller, hiding parts of myself with the potential to cause problems,
Her uni work was slipping as well.
becoming less than I am. I mean, no one should feel like that, should they?
I didn't know what to do. I just concentrated on the future.
I think he wanted to make this perfect little family, because he never really had that. Mum, dad and kids.
I just thought if we could get through this hard patch, things would be fine.
I think he was ready for me to be the girl who was the answer to all his problems.
She knew me better than anyone, and we could talk about anything.
I just felt really under pressure.
I was ready to move on and settle down. It was the next step.
Just because I understood his motivation didn't make it right.
I couldn't wait to be a dad. It's cheesy, I know, but I really could see it.
I think that's why I let it slide for so long.
I think I just fell in love with her so fast.
Fallen in love with him so fast.
Although we fought, I felt it was the most honest relationship I'd ever had.
Part of me wanted to be his perfect answer to everything.
I needed her and she needed me.
It just made me feel really loved.
We could look at each other for hours.
When we first met, we could look at each other for hours, like there was no one in the room but us.
I felt we were just the same amount of crazy.
Talked everything over so many times.
I knew that we both had the same capacity to love.
I knew so much about him, and he knew almost everything about me.
I think that's what made me so sure that she was the one.
I guess I was just waiting for it to be like that again.
If we could have just got past the insecurities and stupid arguments.
We'd always had really great sex. So that became really intense. From day one, we'd always had a really strong connection. I think that's what made us so resolved to cope with anything.
When we were good, we could do anything.
It's bizarre how much we'd endure.
We could forgive.
Like it was the two of us against the world.
We fought, we made love. Everything reset. The problems were still there, niggling.
In the end, the pressure was too much.
It was like too many mistakes had been made.
So I walked into the flat that we'd shared for almost a year, and I told him I couldn't do it anymore.
She came and said to me she couldn't be who I needed her to be, whatever that means.